So, as you're aware, Turkey is holding up Finland and Sweden's bid for NATO. What is the U.S. doing about it, specifically Congress, who has a lot of the powers to deal with the weapons requests and the alliances within the U.S.'s purview? Well, last month, the Biden administration informed Congress that it was preparing a potential $20 billion sale of F-16 fighter jets to Turkey. However, on February 2nd, a bipartisan group of 27 senators shot off a letter to Biden expressing their unwillingness to back the plan, saying that failure to ratify the protocols or present a timeline for ratification threatens the alliance's unity at a key moment in history as Russia continues its unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. A productive and mutually beneficial bilateral security relationship with Turkey is in the interest of the United States, and we are awaiting the government's ratification of the NATO accession protocols for Sweden and Finland. Basically, these senators are saying we won't approve any sale of weapons to Turkey until they allow Sweden and Finland to join. The signatories of this letter include multiple senators who sit on the Armed Services Panel and the Foreign Relations Committee, who have jurisdiction over arms sales. President Biden can't unilaterally sell arms. It requires congressional approval. Now, these senators are also saying that Turkey is violating commitments under the trilateral agreement between Finland, Sweden, and Turkey that took place last year, where Sweden and Finland agreed to take action against the Kurdistan Workers' Party and also agreed to potentially extradite certain individuals in exchange for Turkish ratification of those countries in NATO. Now, Turkey is violating that by saying they won't ratify, despite the fact that Finland and Sweden have taken those steps. Senators have said that Turkey is a valuable NATO ally, but their position is working against the alliance's goals. Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, who is the chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, has said that he would not approve the sale of F-16s until Turkey started acting like a trusted ally. There were also disagreements within the Senate over the sale based on Turkey's human rights records, as well as the disagreement on foreign policy with dealing with Syria. Now, Turkey is claiming that Finland and Sweden's NATO membership should not be a condition of sale for the F-16s to Turkey by, quote, saying, if they, the U.S., keep pushing Turkey in other directions with F-16s and F-35 sanctions, and then Turkey reacts to those sanctions, then they blame Turkey again, then it's not a fair game. It looks like their demands is endless and there's always something. So what's the real reason why Turkey is really is fighting against this deal? I think it's because President Erdogan is in a upcoming election year, and he needs his base to rally. There are chances that he could lose the election, but it's kind of slim. However, he needs to appear strong on the world stage, especially to his Islamic base. So what does that mean? What does that have to do with what's going on here? Well, last month in Sweden, there were two political rallies that took place in Stockholm. One of the rallies saw the burning of the Quran, while the other was a pro-Kurdistan rally where an effigy of President Erdogan, who is the president of Turkey, was burnt. Demonstrators also waved flags of various Kurdish groups, including the PKK. That looks bad if you're trying to form an alliance with what his base will perceive as an anti-Islamic presence within Stockholm. Because of this, Turkey postponed and canceled meetings between the two countries, claiming there is an unhealthy political environment. Now, Turkey went on to say that they could approve Finland and not Sweden, considering the Finns as a separate membership from the Swedes. Finland rejected the idea as both countries feel their security is mutually dependent on each other, which makes sense. In a kind of sidebar here, what's interesting is the U.S. is also fielding requests from Greece to purchase F-16s, which will likely get Congress's approval. Now, despite being NATO allies, Turkey and Greece are currently adversarial on the global stage. There's a lot of tensions going on there. The last time F-16s Turkey tried to purchase F-16s, Congress denied it as an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act last year. This is because they didn't want Turkey to have F-16s and Greece not have them. It would cause regional instability is what the claim was. Well, now that they're selling them to Greece, we're almost running into another situation. However, Turkey, with its recent decisions on Sweden and Finland, are basically lying in the bed they've made. Now, additionally, there's been some troubling ties between Turkey and Russia as well. And the U.S. government was hesitant to provide F-16s to Turkey because of this. And if you remember, in 2019, Turkey bought Russian air defense systems, which led Turkey from being excluded from the F-35 program. The reality for Turkey is Turkey's out of line because despite how offensive burning religious books are, or burning the Western effigies of leaders in Westernized countries, that falls under freedom of speech. It is protected speech, and Erdogan knows this. The problem is Turkey wants to be an authoritarian member with authoritarian demands of an alliance that inherently promotes basic freedoms within its membership bloc. They want to be separate from the NATO bloc, but want all the NATO bloc protections. They want to be able to trade with Russia and get Russian equipment, but they also want to be under the Western defense model in case Russia decides the Black Sea is theirs. Now, there's no way to eject a country from the alliance, and I'm not saying that we are to the point where Turkey should be ejected, but there is also not a way to stop the NATO bloc from isolating Turkey. Turkey can't stop NATO from saying, well, we're not going to give you equipment, we're not going to give you funding, we're not going to invest in your country, we're not going to buy any of your military stuff, and we're not going to train with you. They can be completely isolated, which is very damaging for Turkey, and they find themselves in a position where they couldn't turn to Russia in this situation because they are a part of the NATO bloc. So they are on an island out there in the Black Sea region specifically. Now, when Turkey claims their actions against Finland and Sweden should not be considered as a condition for the F-16 sale, I say that's bullshit. It's just like stating that Turkey shouldn't put the conditions on Finland and Sweden that they can allow their people to burn effigies and burn the Quran. That's not how it works. In Western nations, we have freedom of speech, and that falls within that. Expressing those freedoms should not be a condition of whether Turkey accepts Finland and Sweden into the alliance. Rather, it should be a broader look at the alliance's growth in power rather than the politics of Quran burning and things of that nature. And for that, I think Turkey is absolutely in the wrong here. Do I think Turkey will eventually cave? Yes. I think that the potential threat of being isolated from the West while also watching a lot of the economic struggles in Russia is putting them in a precarious position, and eventually they will have to cave. Perhaps Erdogan can quietly say he got additional demands from Sweden, or publicly state that to his people. Whether that was really true or not, who cares? People like Erdogan, Putin, as well as others that have a more authoritarian tinge to their leadership, get away with lying to their people. So the reality is, I do think that eventually these things will take place. I think that not only the F-16s, but additional cooperation Turkey seeks from Western governments, to include France, the United Kingdom, Germany, and especially the United States, is going to override what is essentially a petty dispute over the freedom of speech within Finland and Sweden.